local, late breaking. This is Newswatch 12 at 5.
Providence nurses have reached a tentative agreement to end the strike, one of the longest in Oregon's history. The strike began on January 10th, affected nearly 5,000 nurses at 8 Providence hospitals. The deal was reached just hours ago, and nurses will vote on it this weekend. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Haley Gravitt. Newswatch 12's Samantha Cadera joining us live from outside Providence Medford. Sam, what are the latest details with this tentative agreement?
Yeah, well, Haley, the ONA nurses from Providence, they reached a tentative agreement after 43 days of striking. And I want to make sure I have this correct they are seeing increases of up to 42% in some cases and at least 16% of an increase for salary for nurses. And the contract promises retroactive pay for those whose contracts expired in December. And the contract also includes patient severity factors in staffing plans, which union officials say will better support both nurses and patients. In a statement, Providence said that they are hopeful that ONA represented nurses will ratify the tentative agreements that pave a solid path forward for us all, said Chief Executive of Providence, Oregon. And I did reach out to ONA, and they said that they will not be providing a statement until after the voting is completed around Sunday. Around 4 p.m. is what they said. But of course, we'll track the latest both on air and online. But for now, I'm Samantha Cadera reporting live in Medford.
Sam, thank you. And Newswatch 12 Sportsman and Outdoor Recreation Show is going on right now at the Jackson County Expo. We gave you a little preview yesterday, but the fun is just beginning. Storm Tracker 12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman at the Expo for us tonight. Matt, what are the conditions?
Hey, Haley. Yeah, folks are streaming in here for day one of the Sportsman and Outdoor Recreation Show here at the Expo in Central Point. You can come down here to Central Point until 9 p.m. this evening and check out all the exhibits, including the Wild Wolves of Yellowstone. We'll be seeing that a little bit later. We'll be bringing you more from here at the Expo through our evening newscast for 5 and 6. Tomorrow, the doors are open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's a ton of exhibits here and fun for the whole family as well. Now, as far as the weather is concerned, it's going to be a good weekend to get inside and maybe head to the Expo. We got rain on the way. Take a look at current temperatures right now. We're looking at readings fairly mild today. It was a pretty seasonal day with highs topping out in the mid-50s in the Rogue Valley. Satellite and radar showing a storm system moving in the Pacific Northwest. This isn't going to produce really much. We may see a shower or sprinkle in southern Oregon tonight, but the big system is going to be for this weekend. An atmospheric river, tropical moisture moving up into the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to dump some pretty impressive rain for parts of southern Oregon, especially into Curry County through the weekend. Along with the rain will come some gusty winds. Take a look at Stormcast showing those winds picking up as we head into tomorrow, especially for the coast, and then inland winds getting stronger as we go through the weekend and into the start of next week. In the meantime, tonight we'll see those passing clouds, generally mostly cloudy with lows not as cold as last night, down to 38 in Medford, 24 in Klamath Falls. For tomorrow, clouds will thicken up as we go throughout the day, rain picking up first along the coast, and then that precipitation spreads inland, especially into tomorrow evening and night. Sunday going to be the soggier day for the region of the two. We'll time out the wet weather for this weekend. I'll also talk about rain amounts as well, how much rain we can expect with this atmospheric river coming up in just a bit. Haley, back to you.
Matt, thank you. And Oregon U.S. Senator Ron Wyden and his colleagues reintroduced a bill today for a $60 billion investment to reduce wildfire risks on the West Coast. Newswatch 12's Rocky Walker joining us live in studio with the details on this bill and its effects on our local communities. Rocky.
Well, Haley, like you said, a $60 billion bill was reintroduced to combat wildfires, reduce wildfire risks, efficient costs, and to restore watersheds. Now, Ron Wyden says summers have been getting hotter and drier here on the West Coast, saying Oregon and the West Coast as a whole, they're just a tinderbox waiting to be set on fire. He says a lot of this comes from what he's heard from local communities in his town halls throughout the state, saying Oregonians fear for their future as fires continue to wreak havoc on communities every year now. And this bill would create a fund to support restoration efforts to restore forests and watersheds, which would reduce wildfire risk, clean up public lands, and improve animal habitat. It would create a council to advise funding priorities, and it'd make $20 billion directly available to states, local governments, and organizations that support restoration, drought resilience, and fire mitigation. Now, this bill comes forward just after this past year, Oregon faced not only its most expensive, but its most destructive fire season on record. And this year, while we're only a couple months in, the Los Angeles wildfires, they've caused a national wildfire cost to reach an estimated $250 billion in damages this year so far. Now, there's a lot more information on this bill, and to read up on that, you could head to our website, kdrv.com. But for now, reporting live in Medford, I'm Rocky Walker.
Rocky, thank you. And we are continuing our coverage tonight on the former teacher accused of sexually abusing a former student in Rogue River. Jesse Orndorff is out of jail today, according to court documents. This comes after he was indicted by a grand jury yesterday. Court documents state Orndorff had a security release at 9:30 this morning. Orndorff is not allowed any contact with minors and no contact with his victims. He is no longer listed in Jackson County Jail. His arraignment now set for March 26th. Now, following up on the Medford School Board's meeting, the board reviewed factors in the collapse of the North Medford gym and looked at some next steps. The board also addressing misinformation surrounding the collapse, saying drains were not blocked and the roof being flat was not the cause of it collapsing. We spoke to the district's Director of Security and Facilities, Ron Havnier, ahead of last night's meeting, who said plans to rebuild depend on the factors that caused the roof to collapse in the first place.
They'll be working through that debris, taking whatever they need to do the analysis, looking at the existing structure and looking at those things that are likely to have contributed to it in the past.
The next insurance meeting is set for March 1st. In the meantime, the district is continuing to inspect the structure and plan for demolition. After the meeting, they will proceed with demolition, design, and eventually rebuilding the gymnasium. And tensions ran high during that meeting as board member Michael Williams filed formal complaints against Superintendent Brett Champion and board chair Cynthia Wright. Williams described the violations of several board policies, including BBF. BBF mandates that board members treat others with dignity, respect, and courtesy. The complaint against Champion was dismissed. However, the complaint against Wright was sustained. Details on those complaints can be found on our website, kdrv.com. And yesterday we told you about how the Lomacotsi Restoration Project was being impacted by the freeze in federal funding. Now the American Loggers Council has raised concerns about the suppression of funds for programs in the lodging industry. ALC and the U.S. Forest Service successfully removed 113,000 tons of hazardous biomass from forests in California and Oregon. The Forest Service allocated an additional $20 million to expand the program, but work has halted due to the freeze. The American Loggers Council requested the Trump administration exempt all forest management and provide clarification and authorization to resume forest management operations and projects. In a statement to NewsWatch12, Senator Wyden says, quote, "I'm pressing to reserve their earlier unconstitutional and dangerous decision to freeze the hiring of seasonal firefighters and will push back just as hard on the latest decision that both undermines Lomacotsi's good work." Senator Merkley also responding to this, saying, quote, "The Lomacotsi Restoration Project is putting in that hard work in our forests and making Oregon communities safer. I've been in the woods with them before, and I have personally seen the important work that they are doing." Senator Wyden said that he is joining legislation to raise the minimum age to buy assault weapons from 18 to 21. The bill would expand the ban to assault weapons, large capacity ammunition, feeding devices, and related ammunition. The legislation would bar most individuals under 21 from possessing these items, with limited expectations for specific circumstances such as service in law enforcement or the armed forces. Senator Wyden says, quote, "If you're not old enough to purchase alcohol, you shouldn't be allowed to buy an assault weapon either." And on to a money alert tonight. Governor Tina Kotek and the Oregon Housing and Community Services have announced the launch of Oregon's moderate income revolving loan program. The program will provide zero-interest loans to cities and counties for new housing units that don't have enough financing to start construction. Cities and counties can use the funding to boost housing construction and reduce housing prices and provide home ownership opportunities for moderate income Oregonians. Governor Kotek said, quote, "This program is an essential piece of the affordability puzzle."
We are tracking more